Your name? Ward Stradlater. Do you have any relations to Holden Caulfield? Yeah, he was my old roommate at Pensy. Crazy kid. Crazy son of a gun kid. He was always asking you dumb questions about ducks or girls or anything that came to his mind. He was pretty dumb himself, too. He flunked pretty much all of his classes and never did anything the right way. Gosh, that kid. Did you happen to hear of what happened to Holden? Like I give a darn. That kid disappeared before Christmas break started. My guess is he got so full that he jumped out of the window and offed himself. Last I saw him, he tried to get a hit off me while I was brushing my teeth. He missed, though. That pathetic kid. Was Holden always like this? He's always been prone to flaring up, but I guess he's had his moments. He lent me his coat once, and he tried to help me out by writing a paper for me. I couldn't turn in that scrap of junk he wrote, though, but he was trying to do good for once. Going back to Holden attacking you, how did you react in the moment? I socked him right back, and knocked him out too. Crazy kid wouldn't keep his mouth shut, so I had to keep him pinned down by the chest. Not a pretty sight, but I took care of it. One last question. Why did you strike back at Holden? He was asking more dumb questions that I didn't want to answer. After he tried to land that first smack, I knew I'd have to do something to get him to shut up. That Holden. There was always something off about him. Thank you. Moving our questions over to you. What is your name?
Sally Hayes.
Do you have any connections to Holden Caulfield?
Well, I knew him. We hung out a few times. He was nice. At first.
How did things turn sour?
One day, he asked me out on a date of sorts to watch this wonderful performance by the Lunts. It was marvelous, but Holden didn't seem to be enjoying it. He started acting super jealous when I was talking to another guy during the intermission. Anyways, after that, we went to Radio City to do some skating. Eventually, we got tired and decided to go sit and get some drinks. That's when Holden started going mad. He started complaining about school, life, cars, phonies, and the city in general. I was already feeling really uncomfortable, so I told him to snap out of it and knock it off. Then he called me a pain in the... well... and I told him to leave.
Did he stop bothering you after that?
Well, he did leave, eventually. He kept apologizing, but I wasn't in the mood for that after what he said. A few days later, he called me again, drunk out of his mind. It sounded like he was slobbering on the phone when he called me, and he kept saying he would help me trim my Christmas tree. I hung up when I realized what kind of state of mind he was in.
Do you have any idea why he brought up the Christmas tree?
Well, earlier I had invited him to come over to my place and help my family trim our tree for Christmas. Of course, I'm not so sure that's a good idea now. My dad already didn't like Holden, and, well, I'm not sure I like him either anymore.
I just have one more question for you. Other than the offensive remarks, what was it about your conversation with Holden that made you believe he was mad?
He tried to get me to leave the city with him and start a new life out in the wilderness. He seemed to think he had an entire plan mapped out to live outside of society. I guess I can't blame him for wanting to get out of school. But he wasn't being sensible. You can't just leave. Holden is crazy, and I'm ashamed I didn't see it sooner.
Thank you. Just one more person to interview for tonight. What is your name? Holden Caulfield. So, how does your story start? I bombed all of my classes at Pensy, except for English. I was never interested in any of them, and I just didn't care all that much if I got kicked out. My mom was going to freak out if she heard about it so abruptly, so I decided to leave Pensy for good and spend some time in the city. I was loaded with cash, so I got myself a crappy place to stay for a while and tried to find someone I could get a drink with. I've got a really deep-sounding voice for my age, so I can get drinks if the waiter is willing. I also have a lot of gray hairs, so sometimes I fool people into thinking I'm really old. I just ended up going to the lobby of my hotel and partying for a bit with some dumb girls from out of town. I got back and set up a date with a girl I knew, but she got mad at me, so I had to leave her. I met with another guy, met with an old teacher, and then finally decided to go back home. I was gonna leave, but Phoebe made me stay. Knowing all of that, what made you decide to do all this? I couldn't bring myself to care about Pensy. It was full of a bunch of phonies anyway. You know, the kind of people who put up good appearances when really they're good for nothing. And about that date you went on, what caused it to go awry? Well, I was trying to have an intellectual conversation with her. She wasn't interested at all. I kinda started shooting around with the idea that we should leave the city and survive in the wilderness together, but she wasn't all too hot on that idea. She called me crazy and started saying that I was spouting nonsense. I guess I got fed up with that and overreacted a little, 'cause then I said something bad about her. Maybe I wasn't really thinking, but I guess sometimes I get a little carried away with my ideas. And for our last question, Holden, what made you stay with your family? Well, everywhere I went, I never found a place where I belonged. So, my only choice was to go back home, where at least I felt like I belonged with my siblings. Phoebe and DB are alright, and maybe I'll do better in school when I have to go back. We'll have to see, though.